What's up, everybody? There you had the countdown. Welcome to LA Times. We have a special guest here today, man. You're not going to want to miss this. We got a lot of history in the house, an upcoming documentary, so much, guys. This is a special guest, brother. We're truly honored and blessed. Before that, let me tell you guys, man, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. As you know, man, we're always trying to bring you the best content. We want to remind you, Tuesdays at 6 o'clock, always join the roundtable, the original roundtable. We got Cholo Trucker, we got Sonny, we got Jen, we got a bunch of fires, so just keep coming on. But today is the day I am honored. By request of one of our viewers, he told us, you got to interview this guy. You got to interview this guy. And here he is from the Duke's Car Club. He has a documentary coming out. He's an executive producer. He's from Santana, OC, from the Dukes. Mr. Jacob Dominguez, welcome, brother.
How's it going? How's it going, brother?
Man, dude, we're honored to have you, bro. And man, it's, you know, when our guests, I mean, our fans of our page or our followers, when they tell us, man, hey, interview so and so, we always tell them, well, go ahead and get a hold of them. And rarely do they, and they did to you. And we got together and we talked off air, man. It's just a pleasure and an honor, because when I think of the Duke's Car Club, I think of class, brother. So, man, how you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad. Just waiting for my grandkids to come over in a little while. And since I'm already officially retired now, and I get to spend more time with my family and friends, that's what I'm doing now.
Right on, brother. Hey, just for an icebreaker, bro, for the people out there, before we get into the history of lowriding, the history of the car clubs, man, and yours particularly, I just want to do an icebreaker, brother. Chicano films, man. What's your favorite Chicano film and why?
Well, the film that I like the most, that's more true to the game, would probably be Boulevard Nights, and that would be because of all the familias in it involved, car clubs involved, the reality of what really happens in true life, as when people get killed over gangbanging, over stuff like that. I've seen other movies that are out now, and a lot of those other movies they're not right. They don't show the real deal. They don't, they make some people look like fools, and in Boulevard Nights, I know some of the movie stars from there, and I've talked to them, Danny De La Paz and Richard Ingis. I've met them, and I told them, yeah, a lot of that stuff, it's reality. That's what it is. Just reality and lowriding. Back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, well, even like, man, even going into today a little bit, when I think about it now that you say that, because one of the brothers was in a car club, one of the brothers was in a gang, and that so much times happens, and it gets intertwined.
If you see the movie Boulevard Nights, it's about Ramon, the older brother that was hanging around with car clubs, but he was also a gang-related person before Chuco.
Yeah,
and right. That's where he was trying to make a difference. So that's a true story. A lot of it is true. A lot of people do that. I mean, me, myself, personally, I grew up in Santana. I was born in Santana, born and raised, and I grew up in Santa Anita, even though I never claimed a barrio. I have a lot of friends from there. And my little brother was a trooper from F Troop, and he grew up gang banging and stuff like that. I personally never claimed anything. I just wanted to be myself, and I got into the lowrider car clubs. And when I first started, I started off with New Class Santana back in 78, 79. So that's where I started lowriding.
Man, we're gonna jump back. We want to get back when we come back to the story. I want to start right there. But before we do, man, can you tell us as much as possible? Like, everybody's going to have a different perspective. Everybody's going to have a different view. I don't think no one really knows. Man, could you tell us about the history of lowriding, the history of car clubs? Because I know it wasn't always pretty. I grew up in a time as a kid where, man, you had a lowrider, you're getting pulled over, stuff like that. But before me, can you give us a little bit of the history of lowriding as far as you know, and bring it back to yourself?
Well, the only thing I could tell you is the way I was growing up. I grew up from generations of lowriding. My dad was a lowrider. My grandfather was lowriding, and when my dad was raised up in Santa Anita, he had his own lowriders and stuff like that. But back then, it wasn't accepted. Back then, lowriding was no good. Anything to do with the word low wasn't good. Like low lights, lowrider. Anything to start off with low income. Whenever you say that word, it wasn't something, a positive note. So when I started lowriding back in the 70s, I started off with bicycles. And when I was into bicycles, I started off hanging around with the Classics Car Club, like Acer and Charlie Lopez and Puppet, and a lot of these guys from Santana that were in the Classics Car Club, which I looked up to because this car club was unique. They had amazing cars. I mean, I always wanted to be a Classic member, but I could never do it because I didn't have a clean ride that like theirs. Theirs was all customized and everything. So I started off with the bicycles, and then I started going over there to their to Acer's house, and I would visit him, and I would visit the guys from the Classics and watch their cars, watch them build them, personally be there. I mean, I was like 14, 15 years old. I was just a little kid back in the 70s. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And I grew up with that. So when I started earning my money, and I bought my cars. I started buying my 64s. I started lifting them. I started putting true spokes on them, true Classics, 520s. But back in the 70s and 80s, it was a dangerous era of lowriding. It wasn't accepted. The cops were always hassling you. They were always pulling you over, giving you tickets, fix-it tickets. You had to worry about that. You had to worry about the gangs. You had to worry about barrios. You had to worry about wherever you cruise. Don't get me wrong. We still did it. I mean, Saturdays and Sundays was the lowriding days in Santana. I mean, Saturdays you'd be ready to cruise all night long and drink your Budweiser. And then on Sundays you go to the park, cruise the park every Sunday. We were doing that every weekend. So back then, it was dangerous. It was dangerous times, but it was good times. It was good and bad. Just like when you see police officers nowadays, everything's accepted. Lowriders go cruising, they're hopping, they're doing all this. They're not getting pulled over, and officers are giving them a high thumbs up. Well, back in my days, as soon as you see a police officer, they turn around and come after you and stop you and hassle you and harass you and everything. So, it was different times. Wearing a Pendleton back in those days, certain colors you can get killed over. I mean, now people wear Pendletons like it's nothing, but back in the day, you couldn't wear certain colors. You'd have to watch out where you were going. You have to watch out the way you dressed. I mean, there was a lot of trouble out there.
Yeah, and I remember as a kid, in the 70s, my dad had a 63 Super Sport. It was stock, bro. But I guess the way he looked, he would always get pulled over. And I remember those days, bro, him getting pulled over like nothing. Going to work, coming back.
Well, the thing is, back in the 70s and 80s, if you had a lowrider, and then not only that, if you had tattoos on your arms and everything, you get pulled over. Right away, the cops would say you're a tecato. They wanted to search your arms for marks, for tracks, stuff like that. Nowadays, everybody gets tattoos, so it's an in thing now. But back then, either you were no good, you were from the barrio, you were out of prison, stuff like that. And a lot of people don't realize that it was tough. It was tough in the 70s and 80s. Things have changed big time. When you used to go to the doctor, the nurses would look at you, oh, you're all tacked back. Now, nurses and doctors have tattoos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different. Cops have tattoos. Everybody has tattoos now. And the lowrider thing is in all over the world.
Yeah.
Little do people know that over here, it wasn't like that over here. It was tough. It was tough to lowride.
Yeah, you guys definitely put in the work for everybody and walk that line. Can we say, before we go on with the story, do we know where lowriding started? Was it California? Was it somewhere else? Do we know, or do we have an idea? It's probably debated, but do we have an idea?
Well, we have an idea, but you know what? I can't really put it out there because I don't know. I can only tell you my story from the 70s to the 80s because that's the way I grew up with the low riding. So I couldn't tell you the history. All I could tell you is this, that normally in barrios there was low riders. Normally, everywhere else I didn't see low riders. I seen them only in barrios. I seen them in our neighborhoods where we cruised around, only those places. And then when we left our territory, you got to remember, back then people they were racial. I mean, they still are. They're racist, but they were worse back then because they would tell us, "Hey, go back to your neighborhood. What are you doing out here?" Especially in Santana, where Santana, you're surrounded. You're surrounded. You got, back in the days, you had Irvine, you have Tustin, you have Costa Mesa, you have the outskirts of Orange County, and those people didn't want nobody from Santana around their neighborhood. They would call the cops on you right away, like, "What are you doing around here?" And we get pulled over, and sure enough, the cops, "Hey, get back to your town."
Yeah, man. So let's go back to when you started getting involved in the lowrider scene. You said you started with the bikes. Let's start from there, and eventually I want to get to talking towards the end about the documentary because that's important. But let's start where you started getting bikes, started getting your interest, and all that.
Well, what happened was we got into lowrider bicycles around 8 or 9 years old, and we started lowriding bicycles. And then we started a bike club called the Imperials in Santana. We started that going on with me. It was me and my brother, and Ronnie Maldonado was the vice president that I remember, and Gumby from La Jolla was the president, and we started the Imperials Bike Club in Santana. So we started cruising around with about 4 or 5 of us, and I'd go to Santa Anita over once in a while, and I'd see my buddies like Mo and my cousins, the Gonzaleses and the Guerreros, and we'd all get together with bikes, and then some of them would even have motocross bikes. I don't know if you remember back in the 70s, but motocross bikes were really hot too. So the Schwinns, we had the lowriders, we had the motocross bikes, and we used to call some of the vatos coconuts because they had the motocross bikes, and that's what we called them, coconuts, the Mexicanos. And we had a good time all together. And then when I started noticing the lowriders and the Classics Car Club, that's when I rode my bike. I wasn't too far from Acer's house, so I rode my bike, and I would always go over there and see the Classics working on their cars, and they were off of Sullivan. And that's where I was inspired. I go, I want to, when I get older and be able to afford a car, that's what I want to do. I want to get me a lowrider, something nice. Even though my dad had me a 63 Super Sport, I wanted something older. I wanted a bomb, and then my dad eventually got me a 46 Fleetline. So that's where it all began. And like I said, I come from generations of lowriding, and I've always had nice cars, and I try to build them. But the bottom thing is you take care of your family first. Family is always first, no matter what. If your family needs something and you have to sell your car, sell it. That's the way I believe. Your family comes first.
All right, man. What's cool is whenever I hit the lowrider shows, man, or the car shows, I should say, the car shows, like especially like in Orange County, most of them I go to, man, it's family events, and that's what I love, man. You can see the moms, the kids. It's beautiful, bro. But what were your next steps, man? What were the next steps in the scene?
Well, after I started working on building my own cars, and I got a 64, and you got to remember this, back in the 70s and 80s, it wasn't all about fixing up your car for a show, because there wasn't very many shows back there, and we weren't really worried about doing shows. We more or less were worried about having our lowrider 63, 64 and having some rimmed spokes on it or hubcaps, or just making it low with small tires and cruising it. We weren't worried about a $10,000 paint job, $1,000 paint job. Hell, we would go to Earl Scheib and get them done for $120. So back in the days, it was about cruising your lowrider. If you had primer spots on it, that was fine. As long as your white walls were white and your car was clean, that's all you needed. That's all you needed, brother. I mean, I'm telling you the truth. We weren't like today. You got to remember too, back then it wasn't accepted. Lowriding was not accepted like it is today. It's a big difference today. Today, you can go cruising all day long and not get pulled over. Well, back in those days, it was very dangerous. And not only worried about the cholos, but worried about the cops. The cops would, I mean, really harass you, really.
Wow, man. And going on, man, I see now I was right going to my mom's. I was visiting my mom's in La Habra, and I go by this parking lot. It's just loaded. I'm talking, must have been in this little parking lot, at least probably 100 cars, but it seemed like 1,000 people there. But what I noticed, bro, there was a lot of young people in the scene now. You know, it seems like the culture, man, is being passed down to younger kids, and they're picking it up. Is that a 1 in a million, or is that what's happening?
Well, you know what? It's always been like that back in the 70s and 80s. Just like when I was growing up, like I said in Santana, when I first joined the New Class Car Club, we used to meet on Sundays at El Salvador Park, and we used to kick back there. And then they started cruising around there, and we had Santana Car Club there, we had Classics there, we had Showdown. You know, there was like a handful of car clubs. And back in the days, it was something unique. When you were a lowrider back in the days, it was like something special to fly a plaque in the back of your window. And there wasn't that many car clubs. You could count them in both of your hands. And it was something special to fly that plaque behind the window. Nowadays it's all changed, like it's no big deal. Everybody's flying their last name, or they're flying their barrio or their territory. And it's like now everybody's that has lowriders usually has to have a plaque for some reason. But back in my days, it was something unique and special, and everybody knew each other. Everybody knew each other's cars too. You know, so when you would go cruising, oh, there goes so-and-so, there goes so-and-so. Nowadays, we don't even know. I mean, you know, it's not a close-knit family like it was back in my days. Back in my days, it was all about unity, and it was being together. And we still, don't get me wrong, lowrider car clubs had rivalries, but nothing like it is today. Nothing like the violence. Nothing like guns being pulled out. It was like, oh, so-and-so said this back in the days, and we'd go over there and straighten it out, you know, without even killing anybody. Just straighten it out like, man, take off your colors and go over there and duke it out over there on the side. Well, you got to remember too, we didn't have cameras back then either. We didn't have phones or nothing to have social media, so it was easy to do that. But nowadays, everybody's pulling out their cameras and taking pictures and filming all this stuff, you know, and it's sometimes it's not good because it makes us all look bad. You know, it makes us all look bad.
And then tell us the history of the Dukes OC, man.
Okay, well, when I got a little older, after my teenage years, I got married, I started having kids, and I bought a house in Garden Grove. And when I bought a house in Garden Grove, I started fixing up my 63, 64s. And back in like 85, 86, I had a 64 Chevy in front of my house because I live on a main street on Brookers. And I had a real nice 64 that I had just got done and everything, and I had it out there, black one. Well, this guy drives up, and his name was Rene Ralas. And he drives up and he starts telling me, he goes, yeah, you know what, we're into old cars and everything. He goes, matter of fact, my brothers are the Relas from LA, from the Dukes. I go, oh, really? And I thought the vato was blowing smoke up my ass. You know what? I go, yeah, right. Yeah, because I know who they are. Well, I've never met them, but I know who they were. So he goes, yeah, I'll take you down there and I'll introduce you to them. Well, I went down there, I met them. And I met all the brothers, all the real brothers, the original founders. And one day, after a while, about a year or two, Fernando Relas asked me, he goes, hey, do you think you want to get a chapter going in Orange County? And I go, yeah. He goes, well, I'll give it to you if you want it. And I go, yeah, that sounds good. So that's what happened. Back in 89, we opened up the Orange County Dukes with the Relas behind us, and Fernando gave me the keys, and he goes, here, take the Orange County chapter. Then I go, all right. So that's how it all began back in 89 with the Orange County Dukes. And now we have this new one now that just came on in 2021, which is called the Dukes Customs of Orange County, which it's a different flavor of cars. It's not our normal classic bombs and real nice cars. It's like the Dukes Customs is all about like the primers, the chop tops, the rockabilly look, the other side that Duke's never had, but now it's Duke's Customs. So they got the custom look. So that's how that started.
That's
and that
neat.
just started this year.
With all the patina and everything, man. That's neat because I think that's wise because that's going to bring in a whole new culture of youth coming into the car show.
Not only does it bring out a whole new culture, but not only that, but you got to remember that some of these families can't afford real nice cars. They can't. They're raising a family now. They're having. It's so much harder now to build a car. So sometimes they just can't afford it, but they want to be involved in a club. Well, you know what, dude? Spend your money on your family first, and then come and see a club. That's what I always tell my people. And you know what? I told them, look, I know you guys can't fix up cars nowadays with, there's some guys that can't spend no $30,000, $40,000. It's bad enough they're paying rent, $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month. You can't go out there and buy a 64 like I did back in the 70s for $700 out of the penny saver. You just can't do it no more.
Man, so neat, bro. So neat. It's kind of inspiring because I'm looking at it from a different view. By doing that new chapter for those people that maybe can't afford it, it's giving them a sense of belonging, and which could keep them away from a lot of things, brother. That's what I mean.
Well, yeah, it keeps them out of trouble, and then it lets them associate with us too. And then later on in their years, they could bring your family into it. They could bring their kids like I did. And they could bring more people into it. And not only that, they can decide if they want to fix up their car where they want to change the plaque to a regular Duke's plaque with a hat and cane. Our brass plaques, our big ones, not the little square ones that we have now. They can decide that, but now they got the opportunity to do it. Before there was no opportunity. Either you had a nice car and you were in the Dukes or you're not.
Wow, man. Wow. So for somebody maybe watching, right? Maybe they're living in Orange County or they're living in LA. What's the process of and this is for the layman, bro. What's the process of becoming in a car club? How is one accepted? How does that happen, man?
Well, to get in a car club, first of all, you have to have a good attitude. You can't go in there all cocky. You got to go talk, hang around with the guys. You got to make sure that it's something for you and your family. With the Dukes organization, it's family orientated. It's something that I influence people, and I tell them, look, I go, this is a lifetime car club. This is something that you bring your kids and get them involved, your family involved, not just yourself. You don't go to this car club saying, I'm going to go get drunk with the fellas. I'm not. That's not what it's about. It's about taking your rides, and we all have the same thing going on, that we all love our cars, but we love our family first. Well, then once you have that established, now you go join the car club, and then you start bringing your family and get your kids involved and your grandkids involved, and everybody's happy. I mean, you go to car shows right now and you see nothing but family. You see grandfathers, you see fathers, you see grandchildren, you see them all having a good time. And that's another thing. If you go to these lowrider happenings, if you notice, it's all about family. Yep. The Mexicanos, it's about family. Okay, you go to the Gabacho car shows, they're all over there. They're over there by themselves. They don't have their wives. They don't have their grandkids. They don't have nothing. They don't have nobody. They're just out there showing their cars. They don't even look like they're having a good time. But I'll tell you what, you go to a lowrider show, everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yep. And by going to those shows, like you said, my daughter's 8. By going to those shows, man, she can't wait. She wants me to get her a pink bomb, bro. So
there you go.
She fell in love at 8 years old with lowriders, man. And hey, man, so tell us about the cars that you have now, that you personally have right now.
Okay, right now I have I have a 40 Chevy convertible that I bought from Julio Relas back in the 80s that I gave to my older son, and he still has it. It's a 40 Chevy convertible that has history from the Dukes since we've had it. And then I have a 42 Chevy convertible that my son is restoring from the ground up. And then I have the Shades of Brown 42 Fleetline, which Donald Tovar, another friend of mine from Hawaiian Gardens, he did the bodywork and paint on, and it's been out at the super shows for the past 20, 30 years. And that one's pretty famous. And then now I bought a Monte Carlo convertible 72 off. Well, it's a 70, but I converted it into a 72 from Mike Ramos, and that came out in the magazines already too. And those are the cars I have right now. The lowriders. As far as lowriders, that's what I have.
Hey, is it common right now? With a lot of the lowriders to get rid of the carburetors?
Not the cars I'm involved in. I mean, really, no, not even the bombs. No, it's not. I mean, maybe for the newer generation, for the guys that have Regals and stuff like that, it's possible, but I'm not involved in that, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, just nerdy questions I have, as somebody who aspires to buy a car soon, I'm just thinking, okay, what's the best way to get gas mileage for a daily driver, stuff like that.
Well, if you're worried about a gas saver and stuff like that, you might as well forget about lowriding.
Yeah.
Because you want to drive in class. If you're going to lowride, you're going to lowride in class. And it's not about saving gas. It's not about economy. If you want that, you might as well go buy yourself a little Toyota pickup. That's what I'm saying. Back in the days, we didn't worry about gas either, and we still don't now.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the guys, these are weekend cruisers. We don't daily drive them. I mean, where would I go? I don't work no more, so I'm not going to be cruising to work. You don't go cruising to work in your lowrider.
Right. Hey, so we got something exciting, man. One of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you too is you got a film coming up, and I want you to tell us about that and how to get started. And let's start from point one to all the way through filming to where it's at now and when we could see it. And where did the idea come from? Well,
the director, his name's Martin, and he came up with an idea, and I talked to him about it. And it's called the Great American Lowrider Tradition. And you could see parts of it on YouTube. You could see some of it on Instagram. He's been putting it out there slowly. He's got it in the film festivals right now, and hopefully soon that they'll accept it, and then it'll come out for the movies, hopefully. If not Netflix, I don't know. I'm an executive producer on it, and I helped him out, getting him connections and getting some of the right people involved in this. But this story is about LA and Orange County lowriding. It's got to do with a lot of the people that are involved that are there are people that people might not know of, or they do, but they're behind the scenes. You know what I mean? It's like a film behind the scenes. It's about people that really lived it, that didn't buy into lowriding, that have generations of families involved in it, and that still show how families get together and go to car shows together. It still shows that it's not about money. It's not about who's got the best lowrider. It's about unity. It's about having your families and your generations growing up together. For instance, we had a barbecue last month, and my granddaughter was there, and she's 13 years old. She's already looking at a bomb she wants. She wanted to meet the owner of the bomb that she liked at the barbecue, and she wants to buy it from him. She wants that car. So she's already in love with the car. I mean, that goes to show you that you keep these youngsters involved in lowriding, involved in barbecues, involved in a positive atmosphere, that they were not going to get in trouble. They'll stay away from it. Because bad people don't go to barbecues or car shows or car clubs. I mean, don't get me wrong. At car shows, there are some bad people, but the majority of the people that go to car shows, 95%, 99%, are good people, are good, hardworking people.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So were you able to go to a lot of the filming when you guys were filming the doc?
Yeah, you know what? I went to a lot of filming. I'm involved in the filming also, and I speak a lot in it. I really can't tell you much more about it other than it's true. It's something that comes from our corazón. It's nothing false. It's something you can't buy. The stories I can tell you, I can't make them up. They're true. They come from my heart. It's something that I'm telling you, and it's meaningful. Some of it's hurtful and some of it's good, because everybody has good and bad. You go to car shows, you get treated like like a Mexican, not just a Mexican American, but just a Mexican. Which I don't agree with, but that's part of life. When I was a youngster, racism was all over us, and it still is. It's just not as bad.
Wow. So speaking of, so for the documentary, it's in the film festival. So hopefully it'll be coming to the big screen, right? That's where the hope is, right?
That's what the director is shooting for right now, because it's all said and done. It's been over 3 years in the making, and right now he's got it in the film festivals, and hopefully they'll accept it. And once they accept it, it'll go out nationwide, because this story needs to be told. It has a lot of truth to it, and it has a reality of really being a lowrider. Not all bad. It's not all bad. There's a lot of good in it, but we got to show the world that, you know what, dude, we're not those Hollywood people that keep coming up with these silly movies of lowriding. These silly movies that it's all about violence. And, when you go out and see a lowrider movie nowadays, if you didn't know nothing about lowriding, would you want to take your family to the lowrider car show? No, because all the violence they show, because they show us in a negative atmosphere. They show us it's all negative, banging and fighting amongst your family members. It's not like that. If anything, we'll help our family members. We'll help our car club members. We'll help them. Do it positive. Be a positive person, not negative.
And then, so what do you think, man? I know you love it, but what do you think about when the lowriding started affecting going to Japan, going to different places, man? How did that make you feel as it became worldwide accepted?
Well, you know what? That's a good thing. It's worldwide now, and it's a real good thing. But a lot of the thing about it is, a lot of the people that are out of the country, they don't have an idea of what we really went through to get where we're at today. There was struggles. I mean, it wasn't easy to be a lowrider back in the 70s and 80s, or even probably the 60s. I don't know. I was barely born in 61, so I wouldn't know. But I can tell you, the 70s and 80s, it was very dangerous. It wasn't like going to a car show nowadays and wearing a Pendleton and being a cholo out there. It wasn't like that. Vatos that I knew wouldn't get dressed up as a cholo to go to work, or they wouldn't have a job.
Yeah. Hey, man. On a lighter note, I see your Instagram. Man, like a lot of celebrities, man. A lot of the celebrities, they come to these car shows or whatever, man. So you're rubbing shoulders with some big people, man. What's up?
Well, when I go to car shows, I speak to people, and I get a lot of stars around, and I talk to them, because I'm in the background. I'm not no superstar. I'm not nobody. I'm just me, and I just want to be me. I don't want to be nobody else. But I've met Emilio Rivera. I met Mr. Cartoon. I met a few guys, MC Pancho, just to name a few. But I've been around a lot of legends that a lot of people don't know about. I've been around like the classics. They have Charlie Lopez, that was a legend. That guy had the Merc. I mean, it was badass. And a lot of people don't know who he was. He's a legend. He's passed away now, but he's a legend. I've been around a lot of legends. I've been around the Relas brothers. They were all legends. I'm around the Tovars. They're all legends. I mean, I've been around a lot of legends that are into lowriding. Little John from Group, they're all legends. I mean, Majestics, Little John from Majestics, and then a couple of guys from Group. So, I've been around I can't remember now, but I mean, I've been around a lot of celebrities. Yes, I have, but they're just regular people just like us.
Yes.
Just like us.
That's what I always tell people. Man. And then, lowrider scene, more recently, man, coming into the different cultures in Southern California too, man. What do you think of that?
The lowrider scene? Oh, the lowrider scene's all over right now. I mean, it's real popular. The cars are very expensive now. People are buying them, left and right. They're getting very expensive. A regular person probably couldn't afford one right now, a lowrider, because they're so expensive.
There's all this stuff. People are saying you got to go find them in the barns in the Midwest and all this stuff, man. Because you look them up; they're very expensive, man. Very expensive. A normal person can't really afford, or maybe they should get into what you said, building them from the ground up,
Oh yeah, no, I don't ever recommend building a car done, because if you build a car done, it's always somebody else's dream. To me, you build your car the way you like it, whatever you like. Don't. I wouldn't follow nobody. I mean, me myself, I consider myself a leader. I don't consider myself a follower, but like I said, followers will always be followers. You gotta just get out there and build your car. I mean, put what you want on it. Put your flavor on it. Have people say, "Hey, that's so and so's car," not, "Oh, that was so and so's car." Yeah. See, there's a difference.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you a couple of maybe not controversial, but just it might come down to your individual flavor. Spokes or Krager types?
Well, when I was a kid, I grew up with Kragers, but as a teenager, Spokes came out, the true Spokes. So, I went with that, true Spokes. I like true Spokes better. They're classy to me. They're harder to keep clean. Kragers were like everybody went and bought them at Pep Boys. They bought Kragers, Rockets. They bought Supremes. Pep Boys had all that stuff. Then True Spoke came out, and True Spoke was a company where they were unique. They had the True Spokes, and then they came out with True Classics, and then they came out with True Rays. So we would all adapt. Back in the days when they first came out with the True Spokes, everybody had True Spokes, and then they came out maybe a year or two later with the True Classics, and then everybody changed over to True Classics, which if you look at the lowrider magazines, a lot of the cars had True Classics. That's what they ran, and that's what I run today. Just for example, my 42 Fleetline, I run True Classics. My Monte Carlo, I run True Classics, and I run the 520s, the premium 520s, which was back in the day. That was us. That's the way we rolled, and I still do that today. I mean, and I put my own flavor into it on the cars. I do it my style, the way I like it, not the way somebody else likes it. I like it, because at the end of the day, it's all about what you like, not nobody else.
Yeah, man. By the way, I seen some of your Photoshop, man. It's funny, bro.
Oh yeah.
But also, have you done any have any of your cars? Have you ever been into the hydraulics or no?
Oh yeah. When I was a teenager, when I was doing my 63, 64s, I was doing the one pumps. I was doing the reds, the cylinders. I was doing the Waterman dumps. I still have Waterman dumps right now. And yeah, I blew up hoses. I did all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I worked on my own cars. I lifted my own cars. Back in the days, we used to torch out the holes. I don't know if you remember, but we didn't drill out the holes. We used to torch them out. We would torch out the holes front and back and put our cylinders in. And if we were lucky, we had them straight. The holes were straight, because a lot of times if they weren't, then your cylinders would go crooked, and then your whole front end would be all chueco. But yeah, I did hydraulics all the time. I was always, you know what? Matter of fact, I'm not proud of this, but I would go out there and we'd get our batteries. We'd get our batteries, and we'd raise a hood on a car, and if we seen a diehard, it was all about gold. It was like, oh yeah, here's another diehard, because that was us.
Yeah.
We had to get the diehard. And then in order to get our pumps, we would go to the back of like a grocery store, like Stater Brothers, where they left their big rig trucks. And if you notice, we would get our pumps there. I'm not saying how, but we would get them. And, that's how we would get our stuff. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun back in the days with hydraulics and stuff. And I did a lot of that. Yes. Right
on, man. Right on. For the older generation right now, let's say the generation like your age, is the hydraulics still a thing, or are they more sticking to the more regular?
No, you know what? I'd rather put hydraulics on my car than I would bag it, because bagging it, I've had friends where they blow I've had friends where they blow the airbags and stuff like that, and it's dangerous too. But they're both the same. They're both dangerous. I mean, hydraulics are dangerous too, because you got the batteries back there. You got hydraulic fluid all over. I mean, it's all dangerous. I mean, but it's part of lowriding.
Yeah.
That's part of lowriding.
All right, here comes the controversial question, bro. This is what everybody wants to know who's into cars. Well, not you guys, lay people like me. Does it have to be a Chevy, or can there be? Can you go into the other?
No.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay, you there?
Hold on real quick. Hold on. Hold on. You're frozen.
Am I?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if we can figure this out. There we go.
You there?
Yeah, man. I was about to call you. So,
Your volume's down.
is it? I sound low?
Your volume. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I can't hear you. Your volume's down. You had good volume earlier.
Yeah, mine is on.
What's that? I got your volume all the way up.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Nope, still down.
Check if your mic is on.
What? You want me to leave and come back?
Check if, yeah, do it.
You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, there we are. You're back.
All right. All right, bro. We're almost there, bro. We got about 5 more minutes, and I'll let you go.
Brother. No problem.
Let's do this. Let's go back. So I'll go back again. The controversial question for laymen like me, being that, Chevys are so expensive. For us newbies coming into the scene, does it have to be a Chevy? Can it be a Pontiac, Plymouth, all these other cars? As far as the car clubs go.
Okay, well, let me answer you this way. when you're into lowriders, a lot of times it comes from generations. And when it comes from generations, your grandfather, your fathers, mothers, they don't necessarily all buy Chevys, they buy other cars too. Well, if they happen to pass away or they hand you down a car, it turns out to be sentimental value to you. So when it's sentimental value to you, that means if you're going to lowride it, it doesn't, even if it's not a Chevy, it's worth to you, it's worth more than anybody else. So what I would recommend is take it from your heart, the way you feel about it. And if a certain car club won't let you join because you don't have a Chevy, that's not the right car club to be in. Wow. That's the bottom line.
You know what, brother? What I already knew, bro, like when talking to you or hearing about Dukes, or I've seen you guys at car get-togethers. I've seen different ones. Man, I've seen a lot of family values, brother. And I love it, man. And I love the way you come down to everything is family, bro. So,
well, the thing is that I'm retired now from the Dukes. I've been retired for a few years now. Our national president is Alex Relas, which I knew him since he was a kid, and he's doing a great job now, and he's making sure that this is a family thing, and I praise him for that, because at the end of the day, whenever you're in a car club, make sure that it's about family, not getting out there and getting drunk every weekend and spending time with the guys and getting out there cussing and everything, and especially when there's kids around. Don't be cussing in front of these kids. I mean, these kids absorb everything. And you know what? I'm now more into it than ever because I have grandkids now, and my grandkids absorb everything. So I watch what I say in front of them. I watch when I drink in front of them. I watch whatever I do in front of them. And you know what? If you're in a good car club, take my advice. Do that. Just don't, when you're around children or family, try to be respectful. That's all. Be positive. That's it.
Awesome, man. And is there anything coming up that you want to promote? Do you guys have any car shows coming? Any get-togethers that the public's invited to?
Well, we don't have anything right now because of the epidemic that's going on. But in the near future, yes, we plan on getting more stuff going. I'm gonna get in touch with Alex Relas and find out some more information, and I could pass a wire out too on Instagram and wherever. Follow me there. So I don't have a lot of followers. I'm more private than. Oh, okay.
You froze again.
Yeah.
Froze again. Hold on. Could you try clicking out, going out, and coming back in one more time?
Yeah, let me try. Got me?
Got you. You hear me?
Yeah.
All right, let's try to do the ending, man, before it gets cut off again. So we'll do it like this. I'll chop it up so it looks nice, bro. Don't worry about it. So, all right, guys. So, man, we've had a blessed time with Jacob. Jacob, man, is there anything? Where could people follow you? What's coming up for you and the Dukes?
Well, we have a little bit of stuff coming up, and I'll be letting you know shortly. I'll get a hold of our national president, Alex Relas, and find out what's going on. But we're going to be meeting hopefully in Vegas at the Super Show, the Lowrider Super Show, this coming couple of months, and we all meet there. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at Jacob Dominguez Senior. I'm a private, and I always post a little bit of funny stuff and some good stuff, all positive. I try to be positive as much as I can. Other than that, that's about all we got going on.
Yeah, man, we appreciate it. It's an honor having you. I hope soon we could do a part 2, because I know once we put this up, people are going to have questions and just follow up. There's a lot of people who love the scene, but just don't know how to get into it, how to get into a car, how to start fixing it, how to just start from basics. So I'm sure we'll have a lot of those questions, but hopefully you'll come back. And again, everybody follow Jacob on Instagram. We're going to put his info down below so you can click on it, give him a follow. And we really appreciate you coming on, man. Any last words?
Hey, just keep it true. Keep true to lowriding and have a good day and stay positive, everybody. Although all this epidemic's going on and everything, it's always better to get closer to your family now, better than ever. Support them and take care of them. That's it.
Yeah, and keep looking out for that coming documentary. I'll try to put the link down below too. So thank you.
Yes, it's called The Great American Lowrider Tradition. Hopefully it'll be out soon.
Nice, brother. Thank you for doing the work, man, for the community. All right, everybody. Thank you once again. Please like and subscribe. We have more coming up. Remember, Tuesdays at 6 with the Roundtable. Thank you again, Jacob Dominguez. We appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you.